So here with me today, we have Emily Jackson, who's been nominated in the category of sport and community activism as part of this year's Pomozie's Inspirational Women's Awards. Emily,
Hello.
how are you?
Excited.
So just for our listeners, I'm just going to go through a little bit of what was said about you in the nomination.
Okay.
So Emily heads a Neptune Girls dance team and class, and they have a focus on mental health and well-being. Emily is an amazing cheerleader and celebrates all her classes' achievements. She builds their confidence and celebrates their wins. Emily is also the dance teacher for Portsmouth City of Sanctuary, leading empowering classes and workshops for migrant women who have fled violence.
Mm-hmm.
Emily, there is no doubt in my mind that you are definitely someone that's inspiring in the city.
Okay.
So just for our listeners, I'll just clarify that I am one of the co-founders of Portsmouth City of Sanctuary, coincidentally also the podcaster for today. But before we go into your community work, I just wanted to go into your background and what inspired you to dance? When did you start dancing? Was that like at a wee age or?
Yeah. So I started dancing when I was about 2. I was a child that, technically an only child, and I didn't really speak. So my mum, bless her, single parent, put me into as many activities as humanly possible, and I did all sorts. I did swimming and horse riding and dancing and whatever it was, gymnastics. Mum put me in, pulled all the funds together, and actually, dance was really for me as a young child about building those social skills. It wasn't so much about, it didn't have any kind of achievement based on it. It was about me learning about taking turns and showing up and, being presentable. And so it all kind of started from that. And I did that all the way through school. And then when I went to university, I had a dance team at university that we used to go and compete. So it was brilliant.
And what did you study at uni?
I did history.
Oh wow!
Lots of reading.
Yeah.
It's quite different to dancing.
Totally different.
Yeah, so I always say I've got my nerdy side, and then I've got my performance side.
Lovely.
And they complement each other in that sense. But yeah, as a child as well, we've now realised as well I was an extremely high achiever at school. And a lot of that hyperfixation, I found out in later life, was because I was on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
So actually, dance really helped me learn those communication sort of skills.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I was unable to cope, and looking back, it was probably the best thing my parents ever did for me.
Absolutely. And when did you join Neptune Girls?
So I joined Neptune Girls, a bit of a funny time, January 2020.
Wow.
The reason I joined Neptune Girls is actually, it was a really difficult time. I just left Manchester where I was with work. I was working for a technology company, and I was experiencing domestic violence. One of the interesting things it's really sad about domestic violence is that often you don't know that you're in it.
Yes, absolutely.
And you are completely coerced into this mindset that you're the person who's in the wrong.
Yes.
And Neptune Girls as well, I'd seen it for years, but the thing I found was that in the course of all these really scary police interviews and conversations and investigations, they'd always placed it on me as if I felt there was something wrong with me.
Yes.
One of the things they said was that because of my autistic traits, that in some way the perpetrator, I didn't understand the way that he was.
Wow.
And it wasn't about...
That is so deep. That's validating the perpetrator.
Yes.
And so many levels.
Yes, and as some people who are listening might know, is that a lot of the time these perpetrators get a lot of protection. So I knew where, he didn't know, he knew where I was, but I didn't know where he was. So for me, Neptune Girls became a little bit of an activity to take my mind off what was going on. I went and did the Greatest Showman course. So that was amazing. So I did that with a brilliant teacher, Gronya, who's at Neptune Girls, and I just went, and my mum said, if you hate it, you don't have to go back.
Absolutely.
And she plonked me in and said, go on, because I just moved back in with my parents,
Yes.
and the rest is history.
Yeah, and I suppose mum knows best.
Oh, they do.
And I don't know, I've never met your mum, but she probably knew the best medicine for her daughter
Yes.
is to go back to
Yes.
basics and
Yeah.
go back to because you were dancing from such a young age. I'd imagine that your mum probably knew that it was so much to you. It was a lifeline. It was your way of coming home, your way of coping with your mental health.
Yeah.
Would that be correct?
Yeah, and I was a competitive dancer from about the age of 6 as well. So it was very much my DNA to be in a studio, and it's where I felt safe.
Yes.
And often when I was at home, you'd have with mental health feelings of chaos. I'd be
Yes.
sat in bed at night thinking, where is this person? What is he going to do?
Yes.
You know, but when I was in the studio, it all disappeared.
Yes.
And I think, you know, I got offered all sorts of, and there's some brilliant charities in Portsmouth. One of the services I used was Talk and Change. They were
Yes.
really good, but actually moving my body really, really helped, and
Wow.
finding new friends.
Yeah, and I think I read something last night actually, where they were talking about domestic violence and safety of women, and they said that a woman over the years, like 50 years, 100 years, she has always found sanctuary in either a church or a place of beauty, like a beauty establishment, so hairdressers or maybe where you do your hands, feet massages.
Yeah.
And I think that's still true.
Yeah.
But with Neptune Girls, they've actually created another space in the city.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're fortunate in Portsmouth. We can say because everyone I know that accesses Neptune Girls have created that safety. You know, and we've got places of worship, and we've got hairdressers, and maybe there are other spaces where women just let their hair down, but Neptune Girls is at the top of that list.
Yeah, and
For sure.
Neptune Girls, I think, has been around since like 2016. So Kailani Dance, she is the founder, the superhero of Neptune Girls, and for her it was really bringing together the empowerment of women. It didn't matter, you know, who you are, where you came from, what was the reason that you were stepping into the studio. The fact that you even turned up is a huge achievement. So whatever you do from there is just more.
Yes. And it's so refreshing to hear your story. I mean, it's not a nice thing, anyone that's been through domestic violence or any form of gender violence. But I also believe that when we look at our lives, things happen so that we're equipped to help others.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Not that I'm justifying that we should have bad things happen to us, but you now run this fantastic project, and I couldn't think of anyone more well equipped to do it than you, Emily.
Thank you.
So you provide dance sessions to asylum-seeking women and refugee women in Portsmouth. Now, apart from the awesomeness and the magic that Neptune Girls are about, you provide the space. Now, just for our listeners, just to put it in context, these are women who have been through domestic violence. They're women who maybe in their home countries, they're not allowed to wear, they always have to wear a headscarf. They're controlled on how they dress. Some of them have been denied access to school. And some of them have always had another person talk for them, maybe their dad, maybe their husband. They're coming from places where there are a lot of restrictions on women. And to firstly get them into a dance studio, that's something else. But to get them moving, to get them dancing, Emily, I don't know if you actually understand how inspiring that is, and the impact you had on these women.
Thank you. And I always think back to the first week when you and I we were setting up the class, weren't we? And some of these women as well, they couldn't even look at me.
Yes.
You know, and they weren't sure. And we originally, before we were in the dance studio, we were at the church, weren't we? And they were kind of sat looking around and thinking, "Gosh, is this, you know, something I want to do?" And actually, it just unlocks something.
Yes.
Because, you know, fundamentally, we're all women. Now, obviously, these women have come from some of the things unimaginable.
Yes.
You know, scenarios. But when everyone's in that space of safety and sanctuary, it's a really different feeling.
Yes.
And I think as well, it was healing for me because through a lot of it, I sort of went in to help those women, and I didn't really think much of it, but it helped heal my trauma because I thought, look at these women, they're getting up and they're giving it a go, and I can give it a go too.
Yeah, that is so beautiful to hear. Yeah, you should be so proud of yourself.
Thank you.
The project is thriving, the women are participating, they attending, and one of the things I know that you do are affirmations.
Yes.
So talk us through an affirmation.
Yeah, so affirmations has come from a Neptune Girls thing, and we've used them a lot in our class. And affirmations we pair with power posing, so it's getting those big expansive movements, really standing, and a lot of it as well, and we use this affirmation with women, is my voice is heard.
Yes.
Because for a lot of people that have been through any kind of violence, you know, whether it's me who's come from, you know, quite extreme privilege compared to these women, having your voice heard is a fundamental right.
Yes.
And being seen is a right.
Yes.
And so it's one of those things. So what we do, and actually we've kind of adapted it as the women have gained confidence. We used to just kind of all stand and we would do a pose, and I'd say something like, "I am strong," and then the women would go, "I am strong." And then, I mean, at first we didn't really get much, you know, they kind of had these rolled shoulders and things like that. And then in the past couple of weeks, the tide has really turned because we now do this in a circle. And often I would be face to face, and you know, I'm looking at someone who's been through so much, and you're saying to them, "I am brave," and they're saying, "I am brave," and you're making that connection.
Wow.
And it's so powerful because a lot of these women, unless, you know, it was for places like Haven or City of Sanctuary, would never have met women like that.
No.
And I think it's beyond dancing, it's about befriending.
Yes.
And really giving women in the city who are new to the city, you know, some of them, most of them, English is not their first language.
Yes.
And it's giving them a chance to see women and, you know, have that connection and learn about each other and really build friendships.
Yes.
So yeah, as much as it's about dancing, for me it's about creating that space for an hour where we can just let loose, put some music on, but it's about them coming together. It's never just about, you know, getting the steps right or...
Yes, that's fantastic. And dance has a positive impact on mental health, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And you know, they've done all these studies, haven't they, at Harvard about physiology, and the more when you move your body, you get this rush of endorphins.
Yes.
And you know, always, all the time, I have women as well in the class, and we do one affirmation, which is "I am queen." They love that one. Yeah. And at the end of the class, there's this one of the ladies is always like, "I am queen, I am queen," and you know, saying to her, "Yes, you are."
Yeah.
And it's just, dance is so powerful. Yeah. And you know, it doesn't matter at the end of the day whether you have danced since you were 2, or you've gone on to professional college, or you're a professional dancer, or you're just someone that just loves just moving to music, whether it's at a wedding or anything like that. And I remember when we were at Haven with you, and we used to put a piece of music on at the end of class, and all the women would go in one at a time into the circle, and we'd dance. We'd be dancing, and then they'd be going. You know, we had ladies from everywhere, and I remember we had one week we had some amazing Afghan women. And they said, "Oh, let me find a song, let me find a song." And off they go. And it was just brilliant. And for context at the time, that was when just after, wasn't it, when everything was going on in Kabul.
Yes.
And I was really nervous that week coming into class because I knew that, you know, things were really difficult, as they always are in the
Yes.
asylum seeking and refugee community.
Yes.
And I didn't expect to see them, but they were there. They came, and it was
amazing.
Yeah, and I wasn't even sure if they were going to join in. And actually, they did. They you know, the three amazing ladies were at the back, and yeah, they had their chance to dance. No one was going to take that away from them.
Yeah, and it's that power. It's that power that having a voice. Yeah, because some of the women, a lot of the women come to the door thinking, no, my voice doesn't matter. I am not powerful, I'm not beautiful, I'm not heard. And the success is that in week 2 they get better, in week 3 they may come in whispering, not talking, and then they whisper and then they talk. And by week 6 they're screaming the affirmation they're ready to dance.
Yeah, and it's like the floor shaking sometimes. It's crazy. And you know, we were very nervous then taking it into a dance studio because there's mirrors.
Yes.
And even for our ladies that come to Neptune Girls, sometimes that can really throw people off because they're seeing themselves in a mirror moving.
Yes.
And a lot of people, you know, and it's just, it's you know, such a crime really, because people are so scared of their own reflection.
Yeah, and actually at our Haven women, the City of Sanctuary Haven's women's group, I did a session last year on beauty.
Wow, yeah.
And I got photographs. So to all our listeners, if you like to just Google some of these places, I got photographs of what it is to be beautiful in other countries.
Interesting.
So for example, if you Google the Maori women of New Zealand, their type of beauty is being tattooed.
Yes, yeah.
So they'll have tattoos on their neck, on their face.
Amazing.
And that shows their beauty. A different kind of beauty is like a Kim Kardashian beauty.
Of course, yeah.
But if you put Kim Kardashian with the Maoris, they'd probably be like, oh no.
But they're still beautiful.
And that's it. Beauty is a perception.
Yeah.
If you think of the long-plaited women of Kenya, so they make a little hole in the chin.
Okay.
Yeah. So the bottom lip.
Yeah.
And they put a hole in it, and when the little girl is small, they put a little ring, and as you getting older, the ring gets bigger. The bigger the ring, the more beautiful they think you are. Yeah?
Okay.
So everyone has every culture, country have different forms of beauty.
Yeah.
In India, when you're getting married, they cover you with henna, and that's beauty. In another country, they'll do something else. And all of it is accepted. Each of us are beautiful. Yeah? And I think the words we tell ourselves are so important.
Yeah, and it's also the things that we consume, isn't it? You know, and I think it's so easy. We always have this discussion, you know, between the girls at class. We're like, oh, I love your hair, and they'll go, oh, but it's, you know, it's curly or it's red, and I always say, well, you want what you can't have a lot of the time too. You know, it could be your beautiful skin tone, it could be someone's height. You know, it could be all these things, and actually, or their bum. It could be anything. And it's so hard because there is no standard of beauty, and I think that's a lot of what my classes and what Neptune Girls is about. Is that it's about you. It's about embracing and empowering each other to just be the most authentic version of yourself you can be.
Yeah, you should be so proud of yourself.
Thank you.
So, and also working with vulnerable women, gaining their trust, keeping their confidentiality, being non-judgmental. I can see why you have been nominated under community activism, because it is a very important role that you have.
Yeah.
Don't ever undermine or underestimate the power of what you're doing, the power of kindness, the power of dance, the power of showing up week on week to deliver these sessions, because they are having a really profound impact on the women. Yeah, so I feel really honored to know you. And So I want to ask you a few questions about yourself.
Okay.
Because as women, we all do it. We want to like take the focus off us, and when a compliment is given, we're like, oh yeah, but actually no. This is what Pomozi is about. It's about celebrating, and when people, I remember my son's just turned 2, Amani.
Yeah, love Amani.
And we had to sing happy birthday to him like 10 times because he now understood, like, I have a cake. So I want him to be quite humble. I'm not that sort of parent that, you know, let me give him everything. I want, because I come from quite humble beginnings. And last year he had a cake, and this year I thought we'll just have a cake and candles. And as he gets older and understands, we'll have a massive party for him.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was just so proud that this cake, I remember on Friday morning I said to him, Amani, here's your cake. And I just baked it, and I put like loads of sprinkles on it. It looked really nice, filled with sweets. He said, wow, Mummy. I thought, oh my God, he's so happy. And when we were singing him happy birthday, he was honoured that he was being celebrated. And it made me think, oh, if someone walked in with a cake for me and they told me how awesome I was, I'll probably be like, no.
Yeah, stop
wouldn't
it.
you?
I remember, being young and singing happy birthday.
Yeah.
And he was, I get so
I was
embarrassed
like,
now.
I feel embarrassed. Yeah. But we shouldn't.
Yeah.
We should celebrate our milestones and celebrate what we've done.
Yeah.
So what is your favourite thing to do? Hobby, pastime, apart from dancing?
It was quite hard, actually. Oh gosh, do you know what? It is dance. It is all I have time to do.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I mean, I'm sort of typical, really. I like reading. I love makeup. I love doing sort of makeup work and things like that, and design. But really, a lot of the time, it's that I'm also grade 8 on the piano.
Really?
Yeah, fun fact about me.
Wow.
And so yeah, I need to do a bit more of that because I'm worried I'm going to lose that skill because it's been a couple of years. But yeah, I was really musical growing up at the same time, which kind of helps dance. It all works together.
It all works well together.
Mums are clever at that, aren't they?
Definitely. And what have you done to be kind to yourself lately?
I tried to do this thing, and I think I'd seen it online, and it's called Selfish Sundays. Right.
Wow.
Okay. Sounds awful. But selfish isn't a bad word all the time.
Absolutely.
And I think about having that as time to have a bath, watch my favourite thing, just relax, because I do feel I go at 100 miles an hour a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and cook for myself. And actually sometimes I just turn my phone off.
Good. I love that. Turn your phone off.
Yeah, and selfish Sundays are a thing, and I think more people should do it because it's a good ritual to have.
Yeah.
If you're able to, and it just gives you that space. And I think we don't have a lot of space in life, and we're always trying to hustle on to the next thing.
Always.
So yeah,
I hear you on that one.
Exactly. So that's my kind of thing, and other things I've been doing. I've been very lucky that I'm doing up a house at the moment, so I've been sort of enjoying a lot of interior design and soft furnishings. So yeah,
wow,
very lucky.
Very therapeutic. Well, it could be therapeutic or stressful.
It depends what day it is. Ask me tomorrow.
And if you had to go for dinner with 3 people, who would you go with?
Oh, I don't know.
Anyone? You don't know? No. That's okay. Yeah, what's your favourite takeaway?
Do you know what? I mean, as basic as it comes. I love pizza. I love sharing food with friends.
Oh, nice.
I get the food envy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So all the time with my friends, it's always like, we all just get the pizza, but we need to make sure we've got similar, because otherwise I get food envy. So yeah, I love that kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Do you like cooking? Or?
I love cooking.
I love cooking.
Yeah, cooking makes me happy. I guess that going back
Me
to
too.
before, hobbies. I love cooking. Baking I'm okay at, but I find it quite tricky. But cooking, getting a big tray of something, colourful vegetables. I always think about colour because that makes me happy. And it's
and
happy
we
on the
eat
inside.
with our eyes as well.
Yes.
Eh?
Yeah. you know, nothing makes me feel worse than a beige dinner. So I just love anything like that. So
I love cooking. I love it. And spices and it's amazing. And what advice would you give your younger self?
I think I thought about this the other day actually, and it's stop trying to prove people wrong. I think a lot of the time where I knew inside my head that I was struggling with how my brain, I'm neurodiverse of course.
Yes.
I always thought, you know, I want to be better and I want to be the best in the class at that. And a lot of the time, I was really lucky because I was. So I'd study for, you know, at like 10 years old, I'd be studying like 12 hours a day at home for exams.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous, really.
Yeah.
Slow down, be present, you know, because...
There's something really profound about being present, and sometimes we're not.
Yeah.
And all of us.
And I just always was racing to be the best at whatever it was. And actually, like, I was a very happy child, thankfully.
Yeah.
But slow down.
Slow down.
Yeah. Take it all in, because, you know, before you know it, 26, you're sat here and you're thinking, gosh, you've just been in a race for 26 years. Yeah. And, you know, thankfully I'm happy. But it's, just be present, enjoy things.
That's really good advice, actually. And being present is so, it's needed.
Yeah.
So many things will pass you by if you're not present.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of the time as well, it's one of the funny things because people say all the time, say yes to things, which is great, but you wear yourself down, then you're not present. So actually, just taking time and just saying, whoa, wait, and laying out the things that you want to do, because you can't be present in things if you're always chasing for the next thing. Exactly. Because you're thinking, gosh, after this I've got to run off to here and run off to here, and you never fully enjoy what you're doing right now. Yeah.
That's really good advice. And okay, our last question. I feel like I could talk to you all day.
We could just sit here
just sit here. Yeah. What is your favourite? What do you like about Portsmouth?
Things I love about Portsmouth, gosh, it is. Well, I think it's just this. It feels small. That sounds like an odd thing to say, but everybody knows everybody.
It's true.
There's so many amazing things here. When I was in Manchester, interesting enough, when I lived up there, obviously it was a terrible time, but I'd look for things like dance classes and women's things, and they don't exist in the same way. There's such a strong community of women in Portsmouth doing things.
I think that has really risen up the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. And actually that's what I really enjoy. There's nowhere quite like it, and I just feel so honoured that I'm here because there's so many amazing women in Portsmouth, and
absolutely
too many to count for one day.
And Emily, for some of our listeners, if there's someone sitting at home now and they're thinking, do you know what, I just want to put on some music and dance.
Do it. Do it. We have a thing, Neptune Girls, we have a group called Glow Getters. So shout out to them listening to that. And we have this thing where we sit on Zoom and we put music on and we just have like a little kitchen disco. And actually,
I love it. Yeah.
It boosts the mood. It's 5 minutes of your time that can really change your day.
And how do people contact Neptune Girls?
So there's a Neptune Girls Instagram account. I think it is just at Neptune Girls, but you'd have to check. You can also just Google it. There's a website. It all flows through, but Instagram seems to be the hub for it.
Sure.
And you'll see all the amazing teachers there and what we've got to offer, from new people that haven't danced before to people that are maybe left university or have danced previously in their life and they just want to come and have fun and, you know, be in a non-judgment place. There's no agenda to it. It's just about being there and, you know, having a good time, and the rest is whatever you make it to be.
And my last question, really, I feel the need to ask it. What would you say to our listeners if there's anyone out there struggling to flee violence, or someone who has, and they in that, you know, that period where you doubt yourself.
Yeah, when it starts to I think for me, I needed to know that people don't think you're stupid. So I remember one of my friends, bless him, I called him after a big blowout, and he said, "I'll come home, Emily." And I didn't want to be proven wrong. I wanted to be I was 25. I lived in Manchester. I wanted to have everything together. I wanted to show that I was doing well.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
But do you know what? A lot of people do that. I have a friend who is currently going through domestic violence.
Yeah.
But sometimes she will say it, and sometimes she's like, "I've got everything together." Do you know what I mean?
Often there were really good times.
Yes.
You know, and those are the times when you think, well, actually, it will get better, and it's fine. I just need to get through this today, and actually tomorrow that person will be kind to me, and it will all feel better. And it doesn't, and it gets worse.
Yes.
So if anyone that's listening, just reach out to someone and just say, actually, I'm not sure if this is something that I'm happy with. You know, because it only took my own mum to realise that there was something seriously wrong, because I couldn't see it for myself.
Yes. And there are agencies out there in the city, or if you're listening beyond, that can help. And by all means, inbox us, Neptune Girls, or Pomozi, inbox us, and we'll be happy to help.
Yeah, there's always women that are there to listen. You know, sometimes it's actually easier to speak to a stranger, because, you know, someone you don't know that well, because actually they don't know you, and they can give you some really solid advice. I think sometimes we feel embarrassed or ashamed to share with a loved one.
Yes.
So try someone new.
Yes.
Someone will listen.
And those feelings of being embarrassed or ashamed, they are valid, because they are feelings that, you know, one would feel at that time. Emily, you are truly an inspirational woman of Portsmouth. Keep going.
Thank you.
Keep shining. Keep dancing.
Always.
Pleasure talking to you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.